Unpack your knives and stay. Yes, stay. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Top Chef RHAPup. We are back for episode 2. I'm Haley Strong, and I'm joined, as always, by my foodie BFFs. LaTonya, what's up?
Haley, having a good week.
I love to hear it.
Things are going great.
It's so odd to talk to you on a Thursday. I feel like we've been such a weekend crew for the last I don't know, 8 years.
I didn't even know you could record a podcast on a Thursday until we did this one.
I'm such a Tuesday girly usually. Curt, would you consider yourself a Tuesday girly?
100%. I'm here. I'm on the champagne of podcasts.
Or are you on the beer of podcasts?
That's not Miller High Life.
No one told me that we should be drinking during this podcast.
Oh, well, I figured it's like a fake Friday, so we can.
It is fake Friday.
And cheers to our first podcast on video. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't think I have any beer. I've got just hard liquor.
Start chugging it. You got to do it. Put it in a champagne glass.
I even brought a fancy coupe glass. Yeah, no, we didn't have any Miller High Life. We usually do have some in the house because that's Ethan's, he's hanging out with other guys' beer. He's like, other guys are coming over. We have to have Miller High Life. Okay, whatever you want. This is a grapefruit radler, I believe.
Oh, tasty.
I think Ethan's sister left it here because she doesn't like it.
Oh, her loss is your gain.
I did almost go pick up some High Life for this. But alas, I failed.
Yeah, well, I finished watching the episode with 5 minutes to spare. So there was no opportunity for me to head on to, and I'm not joking, this is what it's called in Ontario, the beer store.
That tracks.
It's called the beer store?
It's literally called the beer store.
Wow. I've been sleeping on Canada. You guys know what's up.
Yeah, now I'm getting beer envy here.
I'm really upset. I want to stop this podcast. Run downstairs real quick and get myself some beer.
I thought for $5 that everyone else would have had a beer too. I thought that was going to be
okay. First of all, you definitely live in Canada if you think that a beer costs $5, because in the rest of the world it's $800 to buy a single beer, especially in Chicago in this neighborhood. So congratulations on not being broke and having to spend very much money.
To be fair, it costs $5 at the LCBO/beer store, not at a bar.
And that's $5 Canadian.
Yeah. Well, so that's what? A sixpence to you guys?
A sixpence, yes.
A sixpence, yeah.
It's half a dram.
2 bits.
We went to Detroit last summer because the Jays were playing in Detroit. And so we thought, or not me, I was driving that day, so I wasn't having a beer. But Ethan thought he was going to be so smart and get a beer at Buddy's, across the street from the stadium, because it would be cheaper than drinking at, what is it, Tiger Stadium? Is it just called Tiger Stadium, or is it called Sun Life Financial Building or something like that?
I think it's called Sports Ball Stadium.
You had me there for a second, Curt.
Yeah.
And then the beer ended up being, I think, $14 US, which was $18 or $19 Canadian. Yeah. And it was cheaper to drink in the stadium.
Was this Buddy's the pizza place?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no.
It was a craft beer too, so that's on him.
Oh, yeah. No, you're going to spend a lot of money in America on any beer. Just anything that makes you happy costs a ton of money here.
But back in my parents' day, they used to go over the border because the drinking age was 18 in the state of New York, and buy all of their beer for I don't know, a nickel or something like that.
A Buffalo nickel.
Well, literally, it was in Buffalo. It was a Buffalo nickel.
At least, just side note, Buddy's great pizza.
Okay.
Honestly, I probably best pizza I've ever eaten.
Oh,
really?
And that's Detroit style.
I love Detroit style.
I've never been able to wrap my mind around Detroit style. And I say this as someone who enjoys Chicago style pizza, which is 80 times worse than Detroit style, like just on a scale of bread, like on a bread to toppings
to
ratio.
everything else
Yeah.
ratio.
And I think you can revisit this in our pandemic pizza episode with Josh Wigler. But my
The
preferred,
one that almost killed you.
yes, where I had pizza every day for a week.
You
Oh,
were
boy.
so ill for like honestly 3 weeks.
I suffer for my art, Haley. But like my go-to pizza is like a Pizza Hut pan pizza. So it's like not too thick, not too thin, just right. And
You just wait until we get to our what we ate this week segment.
okay.
Or should I say in the what I ate in the last hour segment.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Anyway, we're here to talk about the episode of Top Chef.
We are.
I know, I kind of forgot about that for a quick second, if I'm being perfectly honest with everyone involved. Episode 2 of Top Chef, how are we feeling? Are we warming up to the season a little bit more? Do we feel like a hot fondue? Oh, okay. So nobody's having a good time.
I like the premiere better.
Okay. I liked this episode better, I think.
Me too. Yeah.
Because it felt like a regular episode of Top Chef. Like it hit all the notes I needed it to hit. I feel like we kind of got a little bit knowing a few more people.
I agree there. We got to know the contestants a little bit more. But I think I now have LaTonya's take on the quickfire and it no longer being like immunity no longer being up for grabs. And like she wasn't sure if she was digging that or not last week. I'm not digging it. It to me, if it's only like this case, it was a $5,000 cash prize. I feel like the stakes aren't there. I mean, it's nice, but you can be like, like there should be something, even if it like some sort of advantage, or if you come in last, you get a penalty or a disadvantage or something. So I really kind of came out of the quickfire deflated. Maybe deflated is too strong a word. I was just like not jazzed about the way the quickfires are now going.
It just felt like we didn't really care. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, okay, like have a nice time, I guess.
There were no. I mean, there were no stakes except for the person who picked a steak. But there was.
I was gonna say, I feel like there was. I feel like there was a flank steak.
Yeah, there's a flank steak. But I mean, like $5,000 is great.
Is it? What can you do with $5,000 though? If you think
about $5,000 in Canadian, do you know how much that would be? Like I could probably retire
in America.
Off of that.
What can you do with $5,000?
Well, this is again putting it out into the universe and having things happen. Having last week been unemployed and this week employed, $5,000. Like my mind immediately went into like how many months of rent and utilities and food will that last me? So like where I'm at, like that's like a couple months of life. Like
that is exactly 2 months of life for me.
Yeah.
I go, that sounds like vacation. Like it's like I've already thought, like I already budget my life for the regular stuff. I want fun stuff now.
Yeah, I guess you all have answered my question. I would probably just go like blow it on one big thing. Like I would get like a Louis Vuitton bag or something.
Ooh.
Because I've never had a designer thing really, and I would like one.
Last week I would have responsibly deposited it into my checking account, whereas this week I'd be like, okay, where's the closest Michelin star restaurant to grab that?
Kurt, I really thought you were gonna go like Michelin tire store and be like, I gotta get some new all seasons, baby.
Okay. Yeah. So just a side note, I'm traveling, talk about responsible spending. I'm traveling to London next week. And I was looking at, I'm starting to look at the tasting menu options. Like now that I have a source of income. And one of the Michelin star rated restaurants I found is called, and feel free to correct me in comments or whatever on the interwebs, listeners. But I think like the name of the Michelin man is like Bibelou or something like that. It's like a French name. And I'm just too lazy to look it up. I think Haley might be typing.
I'm not. Surprisingly enough, that does sound like something I would do, but I'm not.
And anyway, there's a Michelin starred restaurant named after the Michelin Tire Man in London.
Bidendom?
Yeah, Bibendum.
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 Anyway, so I would buy food, $5,000 towards food now. Just good food. But yeah, I miss there being stakes, STAKES, in the quickfire.
I agree.
For a viewer who's invested in the gameplay.
Yeah, I'm willing to warm up to it for another few weeks.
Same.
But I hate it. I'm just kidding.
They may introduce that as an element further down the road. So it's like this episode, I was like, oh, I didn't really care for how the quickfire was incorporated into the show.
For the quickfire, they did have to create a dish incorporating hops. That's what goes into beer. Actually, you know what? I think there's some on the can. I have.
Can you stop teasing us with?
It's not my fault. I was in Girl Scouts and I came prepared.
Okay.
We literally have a group text going where it's like, Haley's like, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. But what she didn't say was, because I'm grabbing the perfect beer to make you envious.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was only 1 minute late. I did say I was going to be 5, but I was only 1. Amanda,
I also hate hops. I don't like hoppy beers.
I'm not a big hoppy beer person either. And it's funny because they were talking, like a lot of them were like, oh, you really have to get the bitter notes down, blah, blah, blah. And I don't like bitter.
Me
like
either.
That's not for me personally. So I think I would have hated this challenge.
Yeah.
There was really only one dish I was super interested in. We'll get there. What?
No, yeah.
I said that rudely. What do you want, Curt? What do you want to have a conversation on this podcast?
Yeah, no, I can't wait for us to discuss the what dish would you choose. So
okay.
I'll just bookmark it.
Amanda made.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Curt.
Amanda made cured rainbow trout with hop dashi, grapefruit, and blood orange. Laura, our winner, made hop-infused rice. Oh my gosh. Hop-infused rice pudding with berries. And she got her $5,000 for that. Danny was in the bottom with his grilled rack of lamb with hops au poivre. Michelle was in the top with her grilled flank steak, strawberry, and shallot salad with strawberry and hop vinaigrette. Alicia had grilled peaches, whipped goat cheese with hops, Aleppo chili honey. Dan had a charred cabbage salad with citrus, herbs, hops, and alpine cheddar cheese. Kevin was also in the top with his roasted blackberries and raspberries with fleur de sel crumble, whipped cream, and hops-infused oil. Gosh, I need to take a breathing break. It's a lot to get through. Charlie made lambic hop braised Haitian fried chicken with pickles and plantains. Manny made a roasted pork loin with sweet potatoes, sashito hop chimichurri. Savannah made a crab salad with hop-infused corn puree. Kenny was in the bottom with his hops and kombu broth with farro, maitake mushrooms, and burrata. Rasika had hops-infused green tremula crab salad with watermelon ponzu. Kalina had a hop-cured tuna with hop-infused dashi and raw hops. And Valentine had hop-smoked duck breast with Berber spice and tomato nage. And he was in the bottom with that dish as well. Ooh, that was a tough one for me to get through.
Good job, Haley.
Hops doesn't feel like a real word anymore.
It's not. It's not. It never was. My favorite part of the quickfire was the cut to Amanda talking about, giggling about how the hops smell like weed. I just want to hang out with her, smell the smells of marijuana with her, and play Dungeons and Dragons, honestly.
Oh, yeah. She won me over. If she hadn't already won me over, we'll talk about her beer and pretzels Dungeons and Dragons sessions when we get to the main challenge. God bless her. But this was, here's the thing, like, I wouldn't know how to incorporate this into a dish, and I probably would have just tried to put a bunch of things together to try to counteract the bitterness of the hops. But I wouldn't know. I could see me just doing a lot of citrus, like this, or Danny was like, this thing I made just does not work, and that would have been something I made.
I would have gone a dessert route, but I probably would have tried to do, and it probably wouldn't have worked in the amount of time, but like instead of doing like an Earl, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't have a beer on podcast. Earl Grey panna cotta or like a green tea panna cotta. I would have tried to make like a hops panna cotta or like, a hops creme brulee or something like that to really like balance like this bitter and sweet. I don't know if that would have worked.
I would have made whatever the hell I wanted and just put a hop on top of it.
Because there's no stakes.
Absolutely no stakes. I can do whatever I want.
How many times do I have to tell you people there was a grilled flank steak?
I can just sit there and like lovingly embrace the hops for an entire 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and that would be my challenge, and it wouldn't matter.
And here's the thing, like, if I was a chef who was worth my weight in salt or whatever, and knew I was going
in fleur de sel,
the fleur de sel, Duolingo made me learn that is salt. I figured if I knew I was coming on Top Chef, I knew it was going to be Top Chef Wisconsin, I would have probably, I could see me thinking that there was going to be a hops challenge. I know we've been like, how many cheese? We're still like 2 episodes in, no cheese challenge. But this is our first beer challenge. I think we should
also haven't heard from the Cheese Castle you talked about last week.
Yeah, I forgot to. I'm kind of off of Twitter, but I'll tag them with last week's episode. But when we eventually get Chef Jim on, we've heard many times about how he prepared for Top Chef Charleston, knowing that's where it was going to be. I would be curious what he would have done if he knew that he was going on to Top Chef Wisconsin. Like, would he have, like, assuming there's going to be beer-related challenges, what sorts of things would he have looked at? So, Jim, if you're listening, get prepared for that question. How would you have prepared for Top Chef Wisconsin? Anyway.
Prepare for the question on how you were prepared.
Yes.
We also had Dan speak about being diagnosed with Kennedy's disease a couple of years ago, which is kind of like a degenerative disease, kind of similar to ALS, and how he is losing his fine motor skills and how this was really his chance to, be on Top Chef and really live in the moment. And it's lovely. It's lovely to hear him talk about it, not because it's lovely that he's afflicted with it, but just to say like, hey, I'm living my dream. I also really enjoyed, I think it was Michelle who talked about, hey, I didn't even start this career until I was in my 30s. And that was just like a nice reminder that you don't have to have it all figured out by the time you're 27. And the 30s you can grow and stuff and have a good time.
And we haven't talked about the return of Joe Flam. So he and Kristen Kish, both Last Chance Kitchen returnee winners.
Yeah.
And I think it was it Alicia who was talking about how she had worked with Joseph in Chicago, and so she was talking about how she was surrounded by all these people who were telling her, you got to go to a culinary school, or you got to do this, like you have to do all these things to prepare and to like sharpen your skill. And Joe was like, nah, just like put the work in. And so I like that story too. Joe Flam was my draft winner from that season. But yeah, I liked the dishes we got. I just don't like hops.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was super interested in was the hop smoked duck breast with Berber spice and tomato nage. To me, that made the most sense. So it was kind of a shame that it was in the bottom.
Yeah, I formed 3 courses. There was like 3 I couldn't choose between.
Oh.
So for an appetizer, I'm getting the or a starter or salad, the grilled peaches, whipped goat cheese with hops, and Aleppo chili honey. That sounded amazing. But that
sounds amazing, but I don't want the hops. Just like give me everything else.
But I figure with the goat cheese, like the things that are there, I think will mask it or offset it enough. And then for my entree, I was going to go with the grilled flank steak. So that's the only steak for me. The shallot salad, the strawberry and hops vinaigrette. It seemed like potentially a good way to not overdo the hops for me. And then for dessert, I was when I saw that the hop infused rice pudding with berries, I'm like, I'm in. So those are my 3 courses. Strangely, not getting the roasted blackberries.
I know that. I was like, well,
Yeah.
Kurt's getting. When you were like, I can't wait to talk about it. I'm like, well, obviously he's getting the roasted blackberries.
No, I've been on a peaches and pears kick. Still love the blackberries, but yeah, that I would have gone for the that peach and the whipped goat. Love goat cheese.
Yeah, goat cheese is great. I agree with you on 2 of. I would have gotten the grilled flank steak. I would have gotten the peaches, and I think I would have gotten the Rossica's green tremolo crab salad with watermelon ponzu.
Okay.
I love ponzu. I'm a big fan, and
could
I love
probably-
watermelon.
You could probably then, if I'm making some sort of progressive menu for you, you could probably have the grilled peaches as a dessert. So you
Yes.
start with that crab salad.
No, I want to start with the peaches.
Okay, never mind.
I want to.
No, you're
She's
wrong.
going from salad to another salad, which is progression.
It is
No,
progressive.
I'm going from that to the
Is
flank steak, and then I'm having another salad at the end,
Is
just to mess with you, Kurt. This
Or you
is
can
not
see-
how I actually want to eat.
You could have the pre-salad and then the
No.
salad.
I hate that. Tom says.
I hate that.
Tom
so
was so angry.
He was.
I can't
he
wait
was
to talk
still-
about it.
He was still feeling bad about his the hat comments from last.
Yeah,
episode.
he was big man.
Oh, poor Tom. I do want to echo Haley's sentiments about Dan and the Kennedy's disease. As someone who has like an invisible disability, it's really important to, when you have a platform, to be able to share what it is that might be afflicting you, so that other people start to understand. People may not have heard of Kennedy's disease before he said something about it. And so I just really admire him and like all the risk that he's taking. You can see that the challenges clearly take a toll on him, and he's probably so much more tired at the end of the day than all of the other contestants are, just speaking from personal experience. Like, your battery gets drained really easily. So
and I was so glad he came forth with it in the stew room after
Me too.
judges table, because like tiring from Kennedy's, but at the same time it would have to have been doubly tiring to be hiding it and to like, oh, how do I explain it away? Because he kept talking about himself as the old guy, and he doesn't look like the old guy. Like, he's like looks young, and I did start to get a little teary eyed during that. But I'm glad that he didn't that it was fully revealed this episode, and he didn't try to go any further in the competition without just being his authentic self. So I'm glad that he felt that it was the right time and the right place to do it, because that would have had to be, like I said, doubly exhausting to try to like mask it or whatever for the next several episodes or however long it was.
And as we move into the elimination challenge, I loved this elimination challenge. As a team, create an elevated 7-course progressive meal featuring bar snacks. And they have 10 minutes to menu plan, $500, 30 minutes to shop as a team, and then serve at the Miller Historic Caves. So beautiful. I loved when we had dinner.
This to me was like the Socratic ideal of a Top Chef challenge. Like, this is for anybody this is their first time coming to Top Chef. This episode, this challenge is this is what Top Chef challenges are all about. This is like a template.
And this is the kind of stuff I love, where it's like we are taking stuff we all know what it is and elevating it. So each team had to deal with pickles, olives, toasted corn kernels, popcorn, mixed nuts, potato chips, and pretzels, and elevate it, make a progressive tasting menu. I thought it was such a lovely, brilliant challenge. It was so simple. It made perfect sense. On the yellow team, we had Savannah, Alicia, Michelle, Dan, Manny, Kenny, and Rasika. And on the red team, we had Kevin, Danny, Laura, Valentine, Charlie, Amanda, and Kalina. And I like the menu planning aspect. Like, I like that one person kind of took the lead, but everybody felt like they were heard. Nobody was fighting. Like, nobody felt like they didn't get what they want, so they weren't going to be able to create a great dish. I liked it.
Like, there was the moment where Dan had said, like, here's my idea for dessert. And then Rosika was like, well, I've got dessert too. And then somebody else said, well, you've both, he also said dessert. So let's like work through this. And like, there was no, I think it was Kenny on the yellow team. I believe he was like, felt maybe he was a little bit stifled by potato chips. Like he didn't know what he was going to do with it.
Yeah.
But then somebody else on the team, I think it was Savannah, was like, we'll help you. Like this is a team effort. And I think that's what I really liked about this as well, is everybody was helping everybody. It's just one of the things I was wondering, and it popped a little bit more in my mind for the red team, but I think it was applicable to both, was I was wondering, are they making this a progressive meal versus just 7 dishes? Is it cohesive? So
at what point did you know the red team was losing?
I had a vibe.
Great question.
Thing. I think it was probably when we got to Valentine's soup, only because there'd been more of a series of I'm not thrilled by this comments about the red team. So maybe 4 courses in, I was thinking like it was hard to again judge apples to apples, because even though like you had everybody like 2 people coming out to do the first course, we had 1 person using pickles for the first course and 1 person using olives. So you couldn't really compare the dishes head to head. Right. You had the menu as a total, but you could tell if the dish just wasn't good. And there was more negative commentary, I thought, about the red team.
I agree. And like I see what they were saying, which is that it didn't feel progressive at all. Like it was just clunky dish.
Yeah. I was concerned from the beginning with the red team when they came out with Kevin's olives, and they were just like, these are so salty, and their intention was to have the salty thing at the top and then have the rest of the menu kind of like cut through it, but it doesn't seem like that ever happened. Like they never got to that moment.
Yeah, I'm happy to play with what the idea of progression actually is. Like I don't think we need to stick to like such rigid like parameters of like you have to start this way and then you have to have a soup and then it's light and then it's fish. Like I think there's ways to play with that makes sense. The red team did not do that.
I think with the Kevin dish, it's like for me, I was concerned about Kevin at that point, but not necessarily the whole red team. It was still for me.
I thought Kevin was going out here for sure.
I was very concerned for Kevin. And then I saw that soup and I was like, oh no.
Oh, yeah, because it's like roasted. What was that? Toasted corn kernels, corn nuts, basically, right? I mean, that's just the brand name. They can't use it.
Just say nuts, Curt.
Nuts. Sorry, I follow orders. I did like how the red team, when they were menu prepping, were like, we could just have 2 desserts. And I thought that was genius until we get to Tom.
And then Tom was like, oh, I hate that. I'm like, grow up, Tom. Like,
and then I saw that Amanda was in that position of being the person who was doing the pre-dessert. And when I can't remember, it was Tom or Gail that said, well, if they do it right.
Then, it was Gail.
Yeah. And she, thank goodness she did. But yeah.
It seemed like that was their favorite dish of the entire meal. So Kevin, he had olives. He made canapes with olive tapenade and toast, tempura olive stuffed with a bell pepper, and green olives with Parmesan cracker. Now, I am an olive hater, but I thought the idea of a tempura olive was like fun and whimsical.
You don't like olives?
I don't. Again, because it's like too like bitter for me.
I like olives. I really like tapenade, like a good like muffaletta sandwich from New Orleans.
It was like almost like rich. Like it hits me like right here, and I don't like it.
It's a very polarizing vegetable.
I make a good muffaletta sandwich. I used to make them whenever we would watch the Super Bowl. Back when I cared about doing things. It'll probably come back now that I actually have more people to hang out with. But like, yeah, I used to make muffaletta sandwiches all the time, and they're one of my favorite things. I would always put some aside for myself.
When I went to the RHAP event in New Orleans in December, and I had my first trip to New Orleans, and I got a muffaletta sandwich from a local pizza place, and it was like $25.
Oh my
But it
God.
was like the size of a pizza. It was like a sandwich the
Oh
size
wow.
of a pizza. And I was like, and my hotel room had no refrigerator. And so like I ate a quarter of it. And then I'm like lining the sink with plastic bags and dumping ice in there and like putting the clamshell
Oh my
container of the muffin.
gosh.
I was like, I'm not letting this go to waste. This is too good. Yeah.
You
But
invite someone back to your room. You're like, "Hey, baby, you want a bite of this old muffaletta sandwich?"
it was,
That would work on me.
I gave it the Han Solo cryogenic carbonite treatment and tried to keep it cool as long as possible. But it sounded like his olives, just there wasn't a lot of, A, they were very salty, and B, there wasn't a lot of distinction between the actual, like they looked different, but
Yeah, in
There was
reading it sounds really different, but I can understand where the judges were coming from by saying it was olive and a crispy element. Like that's like times
Yeah.
3.
It was just 3 olives.
which is a great vodka.
That's a good band name.
We could be the 3 olives.
We are the 3 olives.
I love that.
All of that. Okay.
We walked into that one. We just walked right into that. Danny had pickles. He made cured salmon with yogurt and dill sauce. I think this sounded lovely. They said it just wasn't cured enough. Laura had the mixed nuts. She made Badrajani Ningsvisit, a
Good.
Georgian eggplant roll stuffed with nuts. Curt did not give me the pronunciation guide this time. I
Sorry.
tried my best. This looked fantastic, and on its own, I would want to order this. And
Mhm.
everybody was like raving about how tasty it was, but they are correct. This didn't feel like a vegetable course. And it did seem like heavy with the progression. Like they should have really switched this with the soup. But this is probably, I would be really interested to try this.
Mhm. It looked like little eggplant sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked good.
It looked good.
Valentine had toasted corn kernels. He made beer and corn soup with pickled Fresno peppers and toasted corn kernels. I like the idea of this. In practice, I've made more beautiful soups and I'm an idiot.
And apparently it was more sauce-like than soup-like.
Oh, that's tough. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's hard.
well,
Like this would
yeah.
be great to dip some tortilla chips in.
Yeah, it looked like a
Yeah.
beer cheese, really.
It did look like a beer cheese.
And I love a
Well-
beer cheese.
Bookmarking that for what we ate this week.
I liked Valentine's scene, kind of talking about his daughter and how
Yeah.
he will beat anyone at Uno. He does not care.
Mhm.
I tout myself as a pretty good Uno player. So
The problem that I've learned recently with playing Uno with different people is that
everyone has different
everyone
rules.
has different rules,
Yeah.
and but everyone would also fight and die for their rule. So like, there's no happy medium.
No, that's fair. And I'm a Libra, so I'll keep the peace and I'll probably just like go with whatever rule. Ethan and I like to play. By that I mean I like to play and Ethan gets mad because Ethan's never heard of card strategy before. So he thinks like keeping all of like your good cards until the end, like the change the suit and like you pick up 4. He thinks that's cheating to like keep the good cards till the end.
What? No.
He's like, no, he's like, you're cheating. Like you can't save those cards. I'm like,
That's
That's how you play.
in a card game, you look at your options and you choose one of them, and you want to choose the one that leaves you the best options later.
Nope. That's not how you play a game, obviously.
not with Ethan. He likes to play, how can we best set Ethan up to win? Not with me. Charlie had potato chips. He made a potato chip crusted Spanish mackerel with black bean puree and beurre blanc. If I was in this challenge, I would have liked to do potato chips, and I would have liked to go in this direction, like a deep fried fish, like a fish and chips, but like wrapped in the chip. So I was excited to see him do that, but I was not excited to see how it turned out. I thought putting something that like was supposed to have some crisp to it just like in a puree was not a great choice.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys are like,
Yep.
Yeah. Black bean puree. Like when you say it, you just kind of go, huh. a little bit.
Well, especially with fish.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it would be a perfect recipe for me to have gas for the rest of the night. So I guess if that is the goal.
I almost did a full spit take.
Am I sharing too much?
Nope.
Oh.
Amanda had pretzels, and she made the dessert appetizer. She had the beer and pretzels with a pretzel beer foam and miso with beer and lime granita. I mean, sounds lovely and light and wonderful.
It reminded me of back when I lived in LA. Introduced me to the beer garita, where you get like a bunch of Coronas into a pitcher, drop some frozen Minute Maid limeade, clunk into the pitcher with the beer, and then add like a fifth of tequila, and then it's so refreshing. And so this kind of reminded me a little bit of that, just the beer and the lime and the
That sounds like when we used to make strip and go nakeds in college, which you just get like a giant vat.
What college did you go to?
I went to Northwestern, where drinking happens.
Go Bears? No, that's
no. Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
Just like every other team, we are the Wildcats.
My university, we were the Mystics.
What?
Did you eat pizza?
Did you put spells on people?
No, and our mascot was a mountain lion. It was a formerly all-girls school ran by nuns. It is no longer that, but the male to female ratio was like 80% women to 20% men.
Wow.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Okay, Kalina made popcorn. She had popcorn. She made buttered popcorn budino and salted caramel sauce with chocolate and caramel popcorn. I thought this sounded and looked fantastic. The judges were haters.
No, judges were like, it's not really a budino, but it was fine. Like next to Rasika's dessert, like because I was at this point I was trying to gauge who on the red team was going to be in the bottom, and so I was specifically listening to what they were saying about her dessert, and they were like, yeah, it's fine. It would have been like a 3-star dessert on Goodreads. Yeah. You know, a conversation about what our Goodreads ratings mean, and 3 is like, it's fine.
I was yesterday years old when I learned what a budino was. So,
I was today years old.
Yeah.
I was
today years
2
old.
hours ago years old.
Yeah,
could have given me anything, and I would have been like, great budino. I would have been the comedian at the table who was just like, you aren't going to finish that salmon. Can I have it? You all were complaining about this food.
He kind of kept. I had to turn on the closed captioning because I could not hear what he was muttering.
He was mumbling. There was many things I didn't catch, and I just went, okay. I did not have time to rewind. I was cutting it close.
But I did. I at least liked how like everybody else was like, you probably think we're overthinking this. He's like, well, that's what you do.
He's like, you're the judges, man.
Yeah, you're the judges.
He was here for a good time and a long time, and I love that for him.
He was. The joke he made at the beginning that he mumbled through was really funny. He was just like, you can really feel that at the back of the palate or the sides of the palate, somewhere in the palate.
He was very dry. I did like that. This is a tough read of a menu. It's like they didn't talk to each other at all about what they were making.
It doesn't feel like there wasn't coordination.
But they seemed to coordinate and like plan things, and then the yellow team was like, "Oh, we lost."
Now that I'm going like back into the corporate world and like buzzwords, is like it was a very siloed effort. They talked, but the things were not meant to create a cohesive experience. They were very like each meal, each dish was almost kind of created in a silo and not giving thoughts to the other dishes around it. You look confused, Haley. You've not heard that term?
Working in silos? Let us know next time we're going to get corporate Curt.
Okay.
I like shut down. Like I hear corporate jargon and I just go bloop, 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 bloop.
It was not a true omni-channel meal.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Okay, omni-channel in Canada, at least in my very specific part of Canada, was like the station where all like where all the Bollywood movies were played.
Oh, you had a station for that.
Yeah, and then like you could watch like news in Punjab.
That's
which is
awesome. We don't have
That's
any culture here. Nothing.
We do get here in Michigan and also I believe in Chicago. We do get the CBC, so we do get we do get Canadian culture.
I
We don't. It's not like a game of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon where because you get the Punjabi culture, we get that because we get the Canadian. No, we just get Canadian culture.
Yeah, we get all the Buffalo channels too.
Okay, I remember at Michigan State we would watch Canadian curling championships.
I love that.
You went to Michigan State, eh?
Yeah, I did.
Go Bears.
No.
Go guys with the helmets. Spartans.
Yeah, some of them.
Right?
The yellow
Wait, no,
team?
go blue. Wait,
What?
sorry.
They're
Sorry, there's too
green.
many colleges there. Go green. No.
You're one of our arch rivals. That's all. It's fine. I can still be friends with you.
Okay. Green and white. Go.
Okay, yeah, I was right. Spartans, right?
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the yellow team's dishes?
Yes. Savannah, she started off the meal with pickles. She had a cucumber and melon salad with shredded pickle. Oh my god. Editors, cut all of this out. Please, I need my dignity.
I really
It's
think
not
this-
even the beer. The beer is like a 5%. It's like nothing.
It's your
Savannah-
6th one.
What?
I said it's your 6th one though. I'm kidding.
No, you know what? It was the full-size Dr. Pepper I had earlier. That's what's really getting me. Savannah made a cucumber and melon salad with shredded pickles and cream cheese. I thought this was like really beautiful. I loved it. I loved the little twist on it. I thought that was a perfect way to open this.
It was so pretty. So pretty to look at. And I mean, like, I love pickles. So give me anything in pickling liquid.
Yeah, I think that's like a really smart way to play this. The judges didn't seem like that impressed by it, but I genuinely think they were just being haters.
Well, plus you had like the olive salt bombs.
Yeah,
next
that
to
probably
it.
blew their palate out.
Yeah.
Alicia came next. She had the olives. She made a smoked salmon roulette with lavash and olive chimichurri. The olive chimichurri looked chunky.
Chunky.
And that's not what I want from a chimichurri. I don't want a chunky churri.
A chunky churri. They didn't seem to like it. I love chimichurri. It's like
Me too.
Me too.
Like, but put it on anything.
I'm naming
so
my first child Chonky Churri, by the way.
Churri.
Get over here, Chonky.
I'm hoping they're twins, so you can name one Chonky and one Churri.
I feel bad for Chonky, I will say.
Oh, I can't believe we chose this episode to video. But I was given I like a tapenade. I was curious what an olive chimichurri would be like.
Yeah, I think it's just
It's just a tapenade, yeah.
She was
There
just
is
like
no such thing.
she's like, I'm just gonna call it a chimichurri. Like, but to me, chimichurri is like so fine and like lovely and like more of a sauce. Where this was just like, you want some olives? I got some. Enjoy.
Well, that's why not to like go all the way back to the quickfire, but I was intrigued by. Oh no, I lied to you. I wasn't going to take Michelle's grilled flank steak. I was going to take Manny's roasted pork loin with sweet potatoes and shishito hops chimichurri because I love sweet potatoes and I love chimichurri. So I would have taken his quickfire dish, not the steaks. Anyway,
So you lied.
I did lie, yes, completely. But we had 2 chimichurris in this episode, and I was extremely pleased.
We had one chimichurri.
Yeah, there was a single chimichurri.
Sorry, a
We
chimichurri
had
and
one
a tapenade.
and it's funky churri.
Let's not like give
Sorry.
people too much credit here.
Okay.
But you are gonna have to pay for lying, Curt. Like you've broken my trust in you forever.
Fair.
Michelle had the toasted corn kernels. She made toasted corn kernel and crab biscuit with spicy high life honey butter. That sounds incredible.
Sounds so
Where's
good.
the crab?
Where's the crab?
In the biscuit it says, okay, Tom? If that's your real name.
Bonus points for incorporating high life into it.
Truly.
Yeah, seriously.
If
I
they
wish
were
there was
smart,
more butter.
they should have
Or
put high life
honey.
in every single one of the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
I like a twist on it, like the champagne of
Yeah.
the champagne churri. No, it doesn't. Chimichurri. Champachurri.
There we go. We got there eventually.
Hey, a chimichurri with a champagne base.
Yeah, I think the beer could have been worked into all of these elements in some way,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that would have been. I think our Miller High
Life.
cool
Living that.
representative would have really been quite chuffed with that.
Yes.
I've never had a crab biscuit. Is it really just like there's crab in the biscuit? Cool.
I've never had one.
Dan
I've
had
never
popcorn.
Crab
He
and
made
biscuit.
popcorn mousse with clams, roasted corn, and basil. Again, I think they're doing a fantastic job here with the progression.
Clams, like just all the time, please. Any shellfish.
I would have been interested to try this because if you say here, would you like some popcorn mousse with clams? My first, like, I need to know I'm sitting down to a meal where I'm going to be trying a lot of things I'd never had before. So you need to prep me. I'm glad they had the menu with the listing of all the items, so they knew this was coming.
Yeah. Manny had mixed nuts and he made guajillo and mixed nut mole with roasted chicken. I thought this was like a brilliant use of mixed nuts.
So great.
I love that they said like you can really taste the mixed nuts in the mole, and it really showed off his culture, which is so fun. And again, it just really beautifully fit with the progression.
He asked for a chipotle pepper at some point during the episode and during the challenge, and I just about died by the way that he said chipotle. I think that we need to take a second to just stop down and like, first of all, picture this man in your head.
I'm like not well with Manny and Kevin on my streams every week.
Like I don't know what to do about it. And then Tom is also there. So much shit this week.
He's like, and like Manny's so like beefy and like tall, and like, did you see his arms this episode? Like, I almost died.
Did. I like take me on a long walk. You know, that's what I'd like. I think that it's just important that we thirst a little bit. If we're going to do this podcast, then we have to. And I have to tell you, I got so much shit this week from my boyfriend because I told him about my crush on Tom Colicchio. And I needed to be back around people who understood me.
Oh, does he not think he's hot?
No.
Are you sure about this relationship?
Not anymore.
You need a man who supports your love of Tom Colicchio, and I'll tell you that for free.
He hasn't supported my love of any of the people I'm in love with on reality TV shows. I wonder why.
Going back to Manny's dish.
Oh, well, we're talking about Manny's dish. Oh, we're talking about his dish, all right.
More commentary on Manny's dish. As much as I love chimichurri, a good mole sauce.
Yeah.
Oh,
just amazing. Just like give it to me by the spoonful. Love it.
Yes. There was a time when Qdoba would had a mole sauce. I wish they would bring it back. Yeah, this was like circa 2007. Like you could get a mole sauce there. It was so good.
I graduated high school in 2009. I wasn't going to Qdoba.
We
don't have any of those.
You have to go. That's an insult to me. Graduating high school in 2009. Ooh.
With love in my heart. Insult.
I was already at my 50-year class reunion in 2009.
You know what? You guys make me feel young because I have these conversations with Ethan. He's like, I was still young. I'm like, go screw off. Grow up. Kenny had the potato chips and he made what I felt the most exciting dish of the night. He made a potato chip pave with togarashi, yogurt, and beer braised short rib. I thought this was such a brilliant way to do this. I love I love a potato pave. Like, oh yes, like crisp up them potatoes.
It looks so good.
It looks good.
So freaking good.
And the reason I liked this better than the potato chip crusted Spanish mackerel that Charlie made is
because it was fully cooked.
Because it was fully cooked. I didn't get the raw. I didn't get the sushi version. But as where my mind as the non-chef went was immediately, well, use the potato chip to like make some sort of crusted fish. And the fact that Charlie did that means in my mind, it probably wasn't the best way to go because he
Mm,
would have done.
interesting, yeah. I thought it was so brilliant, and especially I was very nervous for him because he was
Yes.
nervous for himself.
Yeah.
He did have the moment of the episode though when he talked about twerking accidentally. We haven't talked about that, and I thought that was important to bring up.
He meant to say what he knew. He had to tweak his recipe, but instead he had to twerk. And
Kristen's face was like, "What?" I didn't realize he made a mistake, and I thought he was joking about needing more time so that he could twerk in the kitchen. Because doesn't everyone twerk in the kitchen, or is that just me?
I think that might be you.
Okay,
But we'll run a poll.
Okay.
I'm looking at my kitchen now. I would knock a lot of shit over, so that's not happening.
I really thought Kenny had the judges' actual favorite. This is my conspiracy theory. Kenny had the judges' actual favorite dish of the evening, but Rasika both made a good dish and did something super interesting, super outside the box. So that's why they gave her the win. So going into that, Rasika had pretzels. She had the dessert. She made a barley pretzel cake with pretzel granita and honey mustard sabayon.
Pretzels made sense to me as the dessert.
Yeah.
Right.
I liked, A, wanted to try this up, down, sideways. B, I liked that it was said a couple of times during the episode that like these are dishes you would never ever see in the light of day unless there was like a Top Chef challenge that inspired it. Like
yeah, totally. A honey mustard sabayon.
Yeah.
For what reason are you talking about that?
If we hadn't had an elevate the bar food challenge on Top Chef 21, this dish would never have existed. So that's one of the things I love about Top Chef.
Yeah. I was also nervous for Rasika. I thought she had a really fun episode too. We got a lot of Rasika personality. She was talking in third person about herself, and then she was like, I love talking in third person. It's so fun. Like, I had a great time with her.
I also love the story about her parents' green card and how they went back and forth to India and would bring her pretzels all the time. That was really cool.
Unpopular opinion, though, not a huge pretzel person.
I don't want to eat a bag of pretzels, nor if like there was a Chex Mix, I am avoiding the pretzel. I do, however, like pretzels with chocolate on it. So I will often eat around the pretzels in a bag of party mix, and then I'll take those pretzels and then I'll do like a chocolate cover on them, and then I will eat those separately.
Whereas I like a soft pretzel.
I like a soft pretzel too.
Me too.
But the strange thing is, I do like. It's like I don't like pretzels, but I like blank. Well, it's like then Curt, you like pretzels. I like Snyder's. Like they have this onion and honey mustard pretzel.
I know what you're talking about.
They're like these pretzel like nuggets almost.
They're like chonks.
They're chunky pretzels.
They're chonky churries. Yeah.
And they have this Nashville hot pretzel that I have, but like pretzel sticks or just like either the little sticks or the bit like they're just like stale bread. But like if it has like a really interesting flavor, Snyder's Pretzels is where it's at. Sponsor us.
Yeah, please call us Snyder's. So Rasika won. Happy for her. I think she needed the moment. Not needed the moment. I was happy that she had the moment. It was very obvious that the yellow team was going to win from our perspective. From their perspective, the yellow team was like, but their dishes were pretty. And Tom was like, did we see the same dish? Like Tom was such a sassy boy this episode. Like truly.
But still like good humored about it.
He wasn't angry. He was just mad.
And he was turned around by the pre-dessert. I was very happy to hear
he can admit when he's wrong.
Yeah.
He can admit when he's wrong. And I was happy, not just because she's on my draft team, but I was happy to see Amanda is still with us, given that we got Weed Amanda in the quickfire and 17th level Elven Paladin Amanda in the elimination. I'll explain that to you later, Haley. It's a nerd thing.
Thank you. I will say my draft team had a very rough week.
Yeah.
All 3 of the bottom was on my team.
Oh, I didn't even go into the draft list and check that. I was just making sure that my people were safe. This is the second week in a row. Like next week will be the second week in a row that one of my people is safe because they won immunity. Because Manny was safe today.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
We say goodbye to Valentine. I am sad about this. I really liked him. I feel like we could have gotten more. So I'm disappointed to see him go. But maybe he has a chance in Last Chance Kitchen. Kurt, do you want to talk
have
about
a
it?
lot to discuss with Last
We have
Chance.
so much to talk about.
If I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, I scheduled my day very specifically, and I left myself enough time to watch Top Chef before the podcast. And then at the end, it was like, tonight on the first episode of Last Chance Kitchen. I was like, not again. But I also don't know where I'm supposed to be watching it in Canada.
Oh, I can't help you there.
You have Peacock in Canada, right?
I don't think so.
I
also don't have Peacock.
This is the first time I watched it on Peacock. Usually I watch it on BravoTV.com.
Yeah, but it didn't seem like it was going to be there. But maybe it's on the Food Network website in Canada. Let me just do a peruse while you tell us about it.
It's on Bravo TV. At least
a lot of the times I can't watch that.
Yeah,
a lot of times Bravo's like, you're in a different country. Goodbye.
So, okay, let's call this out. There was no David in Top Chef in Last Chance.
Yeah, what happened? Do we know why?
It wasn't addressed at all. And then, and I sent you guys the article ahead of time, or a picture of it. Mysteriously, there's this new chef tested named Sue, SOO. I searched online to see if there was anything. Like I'm trying to think like those instances when someone gets kicked out of the Big Brother house. Like there's always like, well, here's what happened. But they pretended he didn't even exist. There was no acknowledgement about why David was not in Last Chance Kitchen. So did he just walk? Like my theory, and this seems to be shared by people on Reddit, is that Sue was a alternate and was waiting in the wings, and I feel like there was a lot of beer mentioned in this Last Chance Kitchen episode, which was also the Miller High Life main episode, and so I feel like from a sponsorship obligation perspective, they couldn't just not have this pairing of episodes. So I think David did something where, again, conjecture. David did something where he wasn't going to be in Last Chance Kitchen. Did he walk because of his pride? Did he violate a rule? We don't know. No one's saying anything or acknowledging it. And then they just brought in Sue. My theory is he was an alternate. I'm definitely...
Yeah, that's my guess.
That makes sense. But I mean, if Reddit says it, then we have to trust it. I mean, that's number one.
And even then, people on Reddit even like admitting it's a theory. That's not what happened. But and then as I'm watching Last Chance Kitchen, I'm like, well, this would be a big waste if he lost on the first episode. Like why make it this whole new thing? So, spoiler alert: Sue ends up winning. But what they had to do was kind of an opposite of the main challenge. The main challenge, they had to. I'll corrupt a phrase that Tom used in Last Chance Kitchen. The main episode, they had to create a champagne dish on a beer budget. The Last Chance Kitchen episode, they kind of had to create a beer dish on a champagne budget. They're given high-end ingredients like lobster and caviar and champagne, and they had to make like a comfort food like out of it. It's like something that was a little bit more like mainstream and yeah.
I'm sorry, Kurt. I just have to really quickly correct your pronunciation of two things. Well, number one, champagne.
Champagne.
And caviar.
Caviar. Okay.
Caviar.
Are we quoting something?
Yeah, it's from SNL. It's like an old SNL skit that probably happened before you were born.
I do know old SNL pretty well, though.
Okay.
Maybe I just missed that one.
And so, they had I can't like 30 minutes to make it, whatever. But Valentine he approached like a New England lobster bake. He used poached lobster, andouille sausage, corn, and turmeric puree. Whereas Sue made his take on a fish and chips. So instead of the cod or some other fish, he used fried lobster. He didn't use fries. He used kind of like rice noodles to make rice chips. And he made some tartar sauce and then added a couple dollops of caviar to the top of it. It looked really good, and he also
did.
the batter for the tempura.
lobster.
Yeah, he put champagne in there.
He did.
To aerate it more, which I thought was also just kind of a fun touch. So he incorporated many more of the gourmet elements than Valentine did.
And then he put rice pearls on top of the batter.
Yeah.
To make it even crispier, which I was like all for. I was very excited. Plus, Sue is a former professional golfer.
Yeah, and a Chicagoan.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely up. I'm a little upset he wasn't in the main episode. He's not in the main thing.
Yeah.
He has to win 5 last chance kitchens to get back. It was spelled out, so that's what we know what we're getting into. He has to win 5 to get back into the competition.
To get into the competition
in the first place. Yeah. It seems like he could do it though. Like I kind of fell in love with Sue in the very short amount of time that we had. And I was also thinking there were 2 people left over in the draft last time, right?
Yeah, I believe there were 3. Well, no, but we were counting David as one of the people. So there were 2 people, Laura and who won the quickfire, and Alicia, who worked with Joe Flam.
And if we add Sue, then we could all draft another person.
Oh, okay. Haley, since you lost someone, do you want to go first?
Sure. Let's have fun. Give me Sue.
Okay. I will add that to the draft list. And LaTonya, would you like Laura or Alicia?
That is tough. Alicia, please.
Oh, good. Oh, because I wanted Laura.
Okay, good.
Actually, I wanted Sue, but
I wanted Sue as well.
Yeah, he just seems just like a really nice person.
He does.
Or should I say Sookers?
He seems like a nice person. You know, he was talking about his beautiful wife. His wife is gorgeous.
I don't want to
I know. I know. But
I was hoping to add him to the boyfriend list.
He can be on the boyfriend list. Like,
I guess so.
You know,
not like I don't have a husband.
You're also married. So,
you have that in common.
Yeah. Lead with
we have so much to talk about.
so much to talk about.
But he just seems like a really solid person who like excels under this type of pressure. So I'm kind of concerned for any of the other chef testants that are going to have to go against him in the quick or last chance kitchen.
Are we going to watch this and like be so disappointed that he wasn't in the original cast? Instead, we had like David Murphy.
Yeah, I think he will be. It's because like it starts off with Valentine coming into the kitchen, and also like Sue acknowledged like I've not cooked in this kitchen before. Like this is the same kitchen that they have the main kitchen,
like fires and everything. Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know this kitchen, so I have to like learn really quickly. But Valentine walks in, and normally, you know, the reigning champ is standing there next to Tom, and Valentine walks in and it's empty, and Tom says, "Do you notice something missing?" I was waiting for Valentine to say, "David." And then they edited it out to fit the universe we're in, but I'm still like it's just less than 24 hours since the episode aired. I'm gonna be poring over social media and news sites each week, entertainment news sites, sorry, to CNN. Here's what happened with David Murphy. Yeah, so
not the Survivor player David Murphy either.
No, not that. That also struck me. No,
that's really funny.
Full David Murphy. But yeah, so
LaTonya, I don't know if you've seen that season.
I don't know if I have either. What season was it?
Was that Redemption Island? Was that the original Rob versus Local season?
Yeah, it was. You're right. And so David Murphy proposed to Carolina, who was on Survivor Tocantins, during the live finale. But then like 3 weeks later, they broke up because it turned out he had been cheating on Carolina with Alicia from Survivor South Pacific. Actually, it might have been like a while after because South Pacific came after Redemption Island.
Oh, so you would have gotten the challenge right in the Survivor episode last
I
night.
would have. I saw that and I was like, ooh, that would have been for me. I am so bad. Like, there's so many challenges that I just could not do on Survivor, but that is one that I would have just like bonked.
I would have failed. I've seen every episode, seen every season, but I could not tell you the order. It gets muddy from like 9 through 46.
I'm good up until they stop like having titles. Like my brain doesn't work with numbers, so I can't like.
Yeah.
You could tell me something happened in Survivor 41 through 46, and I'd be like, I believe you.
See, I've done what no one recommends, and I watched out of order.
Which is what. Sorry, this is turning into a Survivor podcast.
Yeah, that's
horrible show.
Listen. If I have to be in the same category as Hunter, then let the chips fall.
Yeah. So
the potato chips.
The potato chips.
Which I'm sure Hunter could fashion into some type of living situation.
A shelter of potato chips.
A shelter of potato chips. That sounds delicious.
That sounds like what I want.
Pringles are like mini hammocks, right? For your tongue. Can I have a can of tongue hammocks, please? So Valentine is gone, and Sue has 4 more challenges to see to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
he's great. I think you're really gonna like him once you watch the episode.
I'm a little sad about Valentine, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm very sad about Valentine. Like he seemed like a legitimately cool person. I wanted to hear more about his family and his daughter, and you really got the idea of like what he was there for out of his little interview package. So I will miss Valentine and his locks.
Curt.
Sorry. We're on video. I can't help that.
Oh my gosh.
For those listening to the audio only podcast, Curt made a suggestive eyebrow raise when LaTonya said Valentine's package.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I did.
Not even me and Haley double entendre.
I know. That's so our wheelhouse too. Speaking about wheelhouses, more like wheel of cheese houses. Yes, nailed it. LaTonya, what did you eat this week?
My boyfriend made me dinner again.
Woo!
Okay, so this is actually a magical weekend because it was regionals for gymnastics, for college gymnastics for the women, and I am a huge fan of gymnastics. So I of course record all of it, and I subscribe to ESPN Plus so I can watch all of the meets that I can. And my boyfriend does not like sports. He just doesn't understand why people care. I think
gymnastics is different.
It's a sport, though.
I know, I get that, but I'm gymnastics is art. It's not just sport; it's art.
I feel like that's saying you don't someone doesn't like music. Well, there's so many different kinds. I feel like there's some kind of music that, there's so many. I'd say I make fun of not being a sports fan, but I freaking love hockey.
Well, that's fair. He loves the Cubs.
Who doesn't love
at the zoo, or are you talking
the sports team, the baseballing team? So anyway, I got to live one of my dreams, which I normally have to do alone, which is eating a charcuterie board and watching gymnastics. But this time I got to do it with someone, and it was very exciting. And the charcuterie board was just a lead up to actual dinner, which is, honest to God, I think the first casserole I've ever had in my entire life. Because Black people don't make casseroles, or at least if we do, we don't call them that. So he made something called a cowboy casserole. It has Beyond Meat because he doesn't eat meat; he's a vegetarian. And it has black beans, red or green chilies. I can't remember, maybe both. Cheese, and then you put tater tots on top of that mixture.
That's very Midwest.
Those and cheese.
That's a hot dish, babes.
Is it? I don't know.
That's a Midwest dish. Yeah, that's.
I only know about hot dish from watching Girl on the Farm with Molly A. That girl loves a hot dish, and she puts tater tots on everything.
See, I've never had the pleasure. I wasn't familiar with you all's game, but I will now no longer speak ill of a casserole because it was pretty damn good. I was surprised. I was just like, why are tater tots present? But then they get all crispy and golden brown, and they got the cheese on them, and it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Then I also had, I've been into like, just like devouring meat when I'm away from him because that sounds weird. Just like dishes that have meat in them because he doesn't eat meat, and and so I try not to eat as much meat when I'm around him. So when I got back home, I really wanted a Jim's original Polish sausage. I don't know if you're from Chicago, you're familiar with it. It's a Polish sausage, but they put lots of yellow mustard and then just like a ton of browned onions on top. It's a very simple meal. They serve it with fries and with a pepper, like a hot pepper. But it's so filling and it's so good. And then today I had really good bacon from Au Cheval, which is best known for their cheeseburgers. Au Cheval and Small Cheval, best known for their cheeseburgers. Definitely get those if you're ever in the mood in Chicago for a cheeseburger. But they also have really good breakfast. And I was just in the mood for breakfast for lunch. So that is what I did. And it was delicious. It was like thick cut cured bacon with black pepper all over it. So tasty.
Nice.
Yeah.
Curt, what did you eat this week? I feel like you've dropped a few hints.
Last night, I went out to dinner with my mom to celebrate my getting a job.
Yay!
And there's this restaurant in Muskegon, Michigan, on the west side of the state, called the Hearthstone that we've been going to since like I was in junior high. Like it's still around. It was established the same year I was born. And so yesterday I had we split these goat cheese fritters, which were amazing. And I just got a simple Caesar salad, and it had probably been a good 5-6 months since I've been there, and there are like so many good things on the menu. But my favorite is just their Hearthstone special. It's a sandwich, and it has corned beef brisket, smoked ham, Swiss cheese, Havarti cheese, grilled onions, tomatoes, sweet relish, spicy brown mustard, Thousand Island, and it's on grilled marble rye.
Wow.
It is so good. So good. But at this restaurant, they're also known for like having different soup every day. They had a beer cheese soup yesterday, and I kept seeing what looked like bowls of like Planters cheese balls. Like cheese puffs, but they're like balls. It turns out that was the garnish for the soup. So it was like a cup or a bowl of Wisconsin beer cheese soup garnished with cheese balls, not tater tots. But I think that's a very Midwest thing.
It is.
Today for lunch, during my bout of unemployment, I just rediscovered the library, and so I go to the library every day to apply for jobs and to just kind of relax and do like take online courses just to make myself a better person. But there's this poke place I walk past every time I go to the library, but it never stopped in. I think it's called Poke Sushi Unrolled. So I went there. I had to drop off some books, stopped there for the first time today, and I got a volcano bowl, which had like spicy tuna and spicy salmon and jalapeno and a bunch of good stuff in it. So that was really tasty. I sent my co-host here a picture of some habanero caramel ice cream that I picked up at the store. Yeah. I have not had it yet. I'm still working my way through a pint of Ben & Jerry's, and I got to finish that first. And then a channel on YouTube I really recommend that's fun. It's called the Try Channel. It's basically Irish people trying different foods or drinks and then commenting on it. And they had it was like Irish people try unique almond flavors, and they went through all these Blue Diamond flavored almonds that I had never seen, and I looked at the Blue Diamond website. I'm like, holy crap, these are actual things. Like there's like a peppermint mocha holiday almond. I went to Amazon and I ordered Blue Diamond honey butter almonds.
Yes.
Are so good. I opened these today. And then, elote Mexican street corn almonds. These are both, I believe, limited edition. But no, the elote isn't. The other one is. The honey butter is. But the elote almonds taste like Mexican street corn. It is. You can like taste that cheese. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I need to see if they actually have them I bought them on Amazon before I even saw if they had them in a local store. So very, very tasty stuff.
Thank you so much for having the courage to show us your nuts, Curt.
You know what? They're tinned. So all good.
That's like weekend behavior, LaTonya.
What?
Yeah, my nuts are limited edition. What can I say? And then Sunday I'm going to Easter brunch. So it's like buffet. We'll see what's there. How about you, Ailey? What did you have?
Last week I had some sushi, which was lovely, and crab tempura. I was really craving it, so that was nice. This week on the cooking front, I made a pot roast, and Ethan made some really lovely Yorkshire pudding. I also made some stuffed shells, which I'm a big fan of. I love ricotta cheese.
Delicious.
Like the elimination challenge last week.
I mean, I guess the pasta didn't close though.
Okay. It's like a pasta
like
cup.
An open face pasta.
Open face pasta.
And then dinner
down lasagna.
Yeah. Then dinner tonight, Ethan was out with his friends, so I got Pizza Hut. They do a deal called, don't take this out of context, everyone. It's called My Box.
Oh.
And it's $10.99, and you get boneless wings and like a little pan pizza, and it's delicious. And I always get mine with pineapple, bacon, and red onion. That's my preferred pizza, and I had a great time eating that.
I would eat a pineapple, bacon, and red onion pizza. I'm not. My pizza choices are flexible. I whenever people say, "What do you want on your pizza?" I'll be like, "Just order anything. I'll eat anything. I don't want to be the Tanya, you're shaking your head no."
I think that pineapple on pizza should be outlawed. I believe that it is a violation of the Geneva Convention. I just
remember I have the power to kick you out of the podcast.
That's true, you do. And I don't care because you've decided to do the thing that makes me most upset, which is sully pizza.
I love pineapple on pizza. I love pineapple on all savory foods, all sweet foods. I just love pineapple. I love salty and sweet though. I'm a big salty and sweet girly.
I like salty and sweet too. I think it's just something about like I can't get past the pineapple hump on pizza. I'll just stop talking.
That's your cross to bear. Curt, where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found on the internet?
Don't look for me at LinkedIn anymore. On Instagram, you can find me at Curt Clark with 2 C's. And we can probably talk about this. I will be missing the next couple of episodes, but if you follow me on Instagram, I've already signed up for 2 tasting menus in London, and like that's where I go to like my like the big food halls and emporiums and the borough markets and the Mercato Metropolitano. And if you want to follow my food adventures in London and maybe a few escape room photos as well, follow me at Curt Clark on Instagram.
Just remember that our group chat eats first before Instagram.
LaTonya, where can people find you?
I just did a lovely podcast called the RHAP Kickback with Chappelle and Mari, where we talked about the movie Shirley. That's going to be coming out pretty soon, I think. And then hopefully more things to come with those 2. I will also be on an upcoming episode of Crime Scene because I'm just making the rounds at this point. And it'll be the 100th episode that I'm on. So I'm really, really excited about that. I can't share yet what we're going to be talking about, but I will in the future. And then most recently I was on the Movie Ladder podcast where we talked about Barbie. And not only did I get to talk about Barbie on a podcast finally with 2 men who just didn't get it. But
that's odd. I feel like out of any men, those are the 2 men who would get it.
They understood what the movie was going for. They did. It was just that they didn't totally agree with the way it got there, or like.
If I remember correctly, these are two men who like made me watch Mamma Mia and also loved Mamma Mia.
I just think they think other things are done better, which is their
Okay.
prerogative, I guess.
I mean, they're wrong prerogative, but that's fine.
They're wrong about Barbie. So we talked about Barbie, and then the following week I'm not on the podcast, but they're doing a movie I suggested. They're doing Pleasantville, so tune into the Movie Ladder podcast for a little Pleasantville. And you can find me on Twitter at LK Starks and on Instagram at Stormborn1222. Hopefully I'll have fun new updates about what I'm going to be doing soon. Haley.
We have finished up our coverage of the season of The Bachelor. We really enjoyed it, Amy and I. So you can check out the finale recap in the same RHAPups feed as you do here, or the Bachelor RHAPup feed. I also joined my friend Tori on her new podcast called Ready to Be Romanced, where she talks about romance novels that have been super popular in pop culture. We talked about one of my favorite books, The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is the second book in the Bridgerton series. So we also talked about season 2 of Bridgerton on Netflix in preparation for season 3. And boy, is the Netflix Twitter account feeding me personally with the pollen content. I cannot wait for season 3 of Bridgerton. I will also be talking to Sarah and Naomi this weekend on the Silent Podcast about my favorite show, Taskmaster. And I also can't wait for that. Gosh, we are really just living the dream in TV right now. And if you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you can do so at @hstrong_, and follow my Bookstagram account at The Strong Library. I posted a new review today, and I have 2 more reviews to post. I have just been running train through books this year at a pace that is unsustainable. So I'm sure I will hit a wall very soon. So enjoy it while you can. And I think that's it for this week's episode. So you can pack up your knives and go. Bye.
Bye.